What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Sniper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, then we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10 and either build them or fix them depending on how they rank. Now today we answer the age-old question. We have always answered whether or not it's good to have extra attacks. The answer is yes. However, we have not answered what if there's more than one of us. That is what the Echo Knight Fighter seems to want to remedy, and so we're just gonna have to see if it is any good as we look at it today. Before we do that though, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. As you can see, most people who watch the channel are not subscribed, so please don't be one of those people. We are less than 100 subscribers away from our goal of 2,000 by the end of this year. So we can absolutely do it, but I need your help to get the other 90 or so that we need. I really appreciate all the support we've been getting on the channel recently, and so let's keep that up. Make sure to click the bell so you're notified when new videos are uploaded, and of course share the video with your friends. Of course, before we jump in, I want to say we hit 1,900 subscribers on Thanksgiving, which I thought was very fitting, and I'm very appreciative for all of you who have been coming out and supporting the channel and watching all of these videos. It really helps me out to feel that much more motivated to be making videos. I took last week off, and it was nice just reading through comments and just seeing all of your opinions on the builds. You guys have some amazing ideas and ways that we could fix certain subclasses, ways that we could fix certain builds that I do. I love going through all of that with you guys. So I just wanted to have a little preamble there before we jump in. But with that out of the way, let's jump into the Echo Knight. So the Echo Knight is an interesting subclass as it comes from the Explorer's Guide to Wild Mount. What this means is that this is officially released Critical Role material. So we do cover Matt Mercer non-official material on the channel, which we have done a couple of times already. I'll leave a link to one of those up in the iCard above right there. The Moon Cleric was one that we looked at. We looked at a Barbarian, we looked at a Bard, we've looked at several different subclasses, both official and unofficial, but this is kind of the bread and butter of what is official. Things coming from the Kryn dynasty from campaign 2, and so this is very indicative of campaign 2 of Critical Role. If you have not seen that, then you may want to check that out, but that's obviously hours worth of content, so up to you if you want to sink that much time into something. But we have this, and we also have a couple of wizards that came from that book that are officially released material for D&D, but also are by Matt Mercer, which is awesome. Here in a couple of weeks, we're going to be looking at a basically official, but technically it's not, the Gunslinger, that we're going to be looking at that here in a couple of weeks. It might as well be mainline. It might as well be officially released, although technically it's not. But yeah, we're going to be talking about that here in a few weeks. But for now, we're going to be looking at the Echo Knight. And the whole thing about the Kryn dynasty, they have this fancy armor that makes them sound really funny when they run. And they also can make echoes of themselves as they split themselves into two and make this little shadow version of themselves that can also make these attacks. And that obviously sounds very powerful, being able to have more than one of you on the battlefield at a time. There are obviously some limitations to try to keep this in check, but is it any good, or are the limitations too much and make this not worth using? Let's find out. Starting off at level 3, we get 2 features, and the first is Manifest Echo, and it's basically exactly what it sounds like as far as making that copy of ourselves that can fight alongside us. So we make an echo of ourselves within 15 feet of us. It is a magical translucent gray image of us that lasts until it is destroyed, or until we dismiss it, or we make another one, or until we're incapacitated. It has an AC of 14 plus our proficiency bonus and only 1 hit point, so it's very squishy. If it has to make a saving throw, it uses all of your stats, which is nice. And on our turn, we can control the echo to move up to 30 feet without requiring any type of action. If it is ever more than 30 feet of us at the end of our turn, it does become destroyed. Now, a few things that we can do with this. Number one, as a bonus action, we can teleport and swap places with our Echo, as long as we are within 30 feet of it, because obviously it would be destroyed if it's more than 30 feet at the end of our turn. So technically you could go further than that 30 feet, but then it would be immediately destroyed after. But that is a thing you can do, and it only costs you 15 feet of movement, so that's not too bad, right? When we take the attack action on our turn, any attack that we make can originate from either you or your Echo, which is pretty cool, and you can choose with each attack. And when a creature that we can see within 5 feet of our Echo moves at least 5 feet away from it, you can use your reaction to make an opportunity attack against the creature as if it were in the Echo's space. So there's a lot going on with this feature, but there kind of needs to be, right? We're creating an entirely new mechanic that that kind of serves this purpose here. So we have another body on the field, which is never a bad thing because that is only going to affect action economy. Now, obviously the AC isn't amazing. It's going to start off at 16. It'll eventually make its way up to 20, which isn't terrible, but it obviously can't take any hits. It has 1 hit point. So that's a little unfortunate. And of course, if there is any kind of effect that is make a saving throw and then take half damage, it's gone, right? But the thing is, we can create a new one anytime we want. There's no restriction on this. As a bonus action, we can just make one. It's not proficiency bonus times per day. It's not equal to your strength modifier, your dex modifier, your con modifier, nothing. As many times as you want, which makes this very useful. Being able to have an extra body on the field as much as you want, which of course allows you to magically teleport on your bonus action as long as it's around, up to quite a ways, honestly, because it could be 30 feet away from you, right, from that previous turn. Then it moved another 30 feet. You then swap places with it for 15 feet of your movement. Yeah, it gets destroyed, but you just make another one the next turn, right? There's no drawback to doing that. You can swap where your attacks are coming from. You can take opportunity attacks from its space. It just spreads you out a lot more than what you normally would be able to on a normal melee build. I will say this subclass does not really work very well with ranged attacks. So you are really limited to the melee builds on this type of thing, unless you want to try to run some kind of a mixed build, but I don't think that's really the way to go. I think this is definitely a melee only type of subclass. So that is a limiting factor. But you essentially have range with the ability to have 2 of you on the battlefield at all times, right? And a very easily replaceable version of yourself that can go out into the fray, get destroyed, make a new one, do it all over again, right? And it's your bonus action. So bonus action, it runs out there, takes attack, extra attack if you're level 5, and then if it gets destroyed, same thing, just do it again. And you're safe the entire time, which is kind of cheating, honestly. This is a 10 out of 10, right? There's no other way that I can possibly talk this up because it is just that good. It keeps you safe. It allows you to have another body on the field, which is 1 more attack that you and your friends are not taking. It gives you a teleport as a bonus action, which is always going to be good because we don't have access to spells, so we're not going to be doing any kind of crazy shenanigans with that, and we don't need to because it's already built in right here, which is kind of insane. And I absolutely love this feature. It's super good. And if you thought that our Echo was powerful enough with Manifest Echo, it gets even better with Unleash Incarnation. So if you didn't use that bonus action to teleport, you can use it to make an attack. So with this, as long as we have taken the attack action, we can use our bonus action to make 1 additional melee attack from the Echo's position. Now, this is limited to Constitution modifier times per day, so that is a little bit limiting, but this is still very good. Obviously, we're going to want to have our Constitution as good as possible, and so that is definitely going to be something we're going to push whenever we go to build one of these, assuming that it passes. But yeah, this is only a good thing. Getting a bonus action attack that has virtually no drawback, you're just limited in a couple of ways that you can do it. I mean, we look at the Berserker Barbarian, right? We took a look at that. That's up in the icon above. That thing gains exhaustion from being able to do stuff like this. Yes, it can do it more in a fight, but then it suffers exhaustion, which is really, really detrimental. This can do it 5 times per long rest, assuming a maxed out constitution, and there's no negative downside to this. Like, it's always going to be good. This is a 9 out of 10. It would be a 10 out of 10 if we could do it more, but Constitution modifier is still very, very good. And when I say 9, I mean like 9.5. It's very, very strong. At level 7, we get Echo Avatar, and just like the upcoming movie, we can actually turn off all of our senses and be somewhere else and be in the body of our Echo, which is pretty cool. So with this feature, we can use an action to see through our Echo's eyes and also hear through its ears, kind of like Find Familiar. You shut down all of your senses and then feel through that familiar's eyes. During this time, of course, you're deafened and blinded, which is very normal for this, and you can sustain this for up to 10 minutes. You can end at any time. And while your Echo is being used in this way, it can be up to 1,000 feet from you without being destroyed. Now, this feature has an unfortunate oversight. And by unfortunate, I mean kind of fortunate. There is nothing in the wording that says that you cannot use your teleportation feature from Manifest Echo while this is active, because it says you can use 15 feet of movement regardless of the distance between you two. Meaning, you could have up to a 1,000-foot teleport. Yes, you're swapping places with your Echo, but you just drop it and make a new one. So, who cares? You can have up to a 1,000-foot teleport as a bonus action with no magic. Yes, you would technically need to be outside of combat for this, but that's incredibly good. And obviously that's not what's intended for this. I believe that on Twitter, I believe Jeremy Crawford said that this wasn't the intention, but I can't read that any other way, right? It has to be allowed by the way that it's currently written. So if you're going strictly by rules as written, that's totally allowed. And that's really, really broken. Obviously, you can't bring anybody with you, but for scouting missions, right, you either can have your Echo going inside of a castle or inside of the walls. And if you want to just let it get destroyed, you can. Or if you want to bring the pain, you can just show up and then go to town. Show up, drop it, make a new one, and now you've got your Echo going again, and you've got 2 of you. That can also be really, really strong. Obviously, it only lasts for 10 minutes, but you can do a lot in 10 minutes. There's a lot that you can do outside of combat in 10 minutes. So I think that this is absolutely amazing, and a very small oversight seems to make this borderline broken. It's a 10 out of 10, right? Being able to have all of these things again without magic is just really, really, really strong and is endlessly applicable in basically any situation. At level 10, we get Shadow Martyr, and this actually allows our Echo to jump in front of an attack for us, which is pretty awesome. So with this, we can use our reaction whenever we are about to have an attack roll rolled against us to make it jump in the way and take the attack for us. And that's pretty awesome, right? It has to teleport to a space within 5 feet of us, and it now just has to target the Echo. And of course, once we use this feature, we can only do this once per short or long rest. Now, this also is a little bit clunkily worded, in my opinion, and can lead to some cheese with your DM. And I think your DM probably will get upset with you if you do the tactics I'm about to suggest. Here's the thing. If an attack roll is about to be made against you by a melee enemy, because this can work against ranged enemies too, and it has to be within 5 feet of you, right? What happens if you put your Echo on the other side of you and it only has a 5-foot reach? The attack roll still has to be targeted at the Echo, but it can't reach it. And it's already making the intention of the roll because this was your reaction to do the teleport. So that gets a little weird. I would imagine your DM probably will ban you from doing that. The other application is with ranged attacks. So yes, the ranged attack will still reach the Echo most of the time, unless you're right at the edge of that range. But you could put the Echo on the other side of you, and creatures give other creatures half cover. So you can boost the AC of your Echo from that ranged attack, being its shield essentially, as it shields you from possible death, which is just such an interesting way that this works. And I really think this should have been worded better, because there are just ways that you can cheese this that are going to be really frustrating to your DM. So your DM may not allow you to do this kind of cheese. And if that's the case, then, you know, that more power to your DM. But I'm going by rules as written. And this says nothing about the fact that it has to be able to be within line of sight. It has nothing to do with the fact that it has to be within 5 feet of the attacker if it's making a melee attack. It just has to be within 5 feet of the targeted creature, which is you. That's the only requirement. So as far as I'm concerned, you can really waste some attacks with this. Yes, it's using up your reaction and it's once per rest, so it is strong, but I mean, this is kind of nuts what you can do with this. Overall, this is going to be a 9 out of 10. Again, you're messing up action economy. Ranged attacks, you give half cover. With melee attacks, you could just make it impossible to hit if they don't have reach. And both of those are really, really good things. Either way, you're not getting hit and your friends aren't getting hit. And both of those are going to be absolutely amazing for you going forward. Level 15, we get Reclaim Potential, and now it is awesome that our Echo is getting destroyed all the time, because now we get temporary HP off of it. Whenever our Echo is destroyed by damage dealt, we can actually gain temporary HP equal to 2d6 plus our Constitution modifier, which should be good because we already have another feature that's based on this. And this only works if we do not currently have temporary HP. We can use this feature a number of times equal to our Constitution modifier. Again, we should have a good con mod for this, and we get all uses back at the end of a long rest. This is also quite good, and the thing is, this might be the weakest feature that we get throughout the entire subclass, which is saying something. And it's very reliable temporary HP. Yeah, it's only 2d6 plus Constitution, so I mean, at best, you're getting what, 12 plus 5? So I mean, you know, 17 temporary HP is not terrible, especially when you can do that con mod times per day, which, assuming that, would be 5 times per day. That's pretty amazing, and it doesn't say it uses your reaction either. So it gets destroyed, and let's say it had to take a Shadow Martyr attack, right? You teleport it over there to you, it gets destroyed, you gain that temporary HP right off the top, and then use that to tank the next incoming hit. That's a really effective use of this that you can do all in one go. And I really feel like that's incredibly effective. I feel like this is going to be an 8 out of 10 because the temporary HP is not insane, especially at level 15. But I feel like if you go any crazier with it, I feel like this could get out of hand very, very quickly. So I don't think it needs to be buffed either, because this could just get a little crazy. But 8 out of 10 I think is very appropriate for this, because it is somewhat abusable in combination with all of your other features. Finally, at level 18, we get Legion of One, and if you thought it was awesome having 2 of you on the field, well, now you can have 3. And so you now can make 2 echoes of yourself instead of just the 1 whenever you use your Manifest Echo feature, which is always going to be a good thing. The same rules apply as before, but you cannot have more than 2, and if you try to make any more, then the other 2 are going to be destroyed, but that's pretty standard. On top of this, whenever we roll initiative and do not have any uses of our Unleash Incarnation left, we actually get 1 of those back as well. So overall, I mean, this is just a straight upgrade of some of our best hits so far. This goes back to level 3 and just buffs everything about level 3, which is a super rewarding capstone here all the way at the end at level 18. There's really not a whole lot to discuss about it besides the fact that it's a 10 out of 10. having a third body on the field, which just means that one can take a hit, you grab temporary HP. And then the other one shadow martyrs into the way and protects you from another one, and just all kinds of ways that you can protect yourself with the use of these echoes. And you get an extra use of that special attack from the space of one of your echoes as well. Again, this also gives you 2 different teleportation points because now you have 2 of you on the field. So you can spread them out, and if one place gets a little dangerous, go to the other one. And if your DM adjusts, go back to the other one. And so you can really mix things up as you go with this, and it just allows you to be that much more versatile. So what do we think about the Echo Knight Fighter? I think it's no surprise where this is going to end up ranking. There is so much to love about this subclass. You know, when we look at 10 out of 10 fighter subclasses, the only one that has reached that is the Battlemaster. And so I look at that when I look at what is the best. Is this as good as the Battlemaster in terms of versatility, in terms of combat prowess, because this is entirely combat focused? And does it do things outside of combat? Because the Battlemaster doesn't do a whole lot for us outside of combat. It's pretty much all combat, right? This has Echo Avatar, which is borderline broken the way that it's worded, which kind of begs the question as to whether or not your DM is going to run this as written or not. As far as my ranking goes, I'm running this as written, which means that we're more on the busted side of this. And we're also using the more busted version of Shadow Martyr in case your DM ever were to say it has to be in the range of the attack, or you can't use yourself as cover, or any of those kind of workarounds. Assuming all of this as written, you have free teleportation, which is amazing. You can create as many of these echoes as you want. You are not limited by the number of superiority dice. So that's huge. You can teleport as much as you want. You're not limited by spell slots. You're not limited by superiority dice. And it doesn't matter if they get destroyed, because that's one less attack that you or your friends took. Unless it's a area of effect type of thing. But again, you just make another one. And so there's no downside to this. You can make attacks from your space or the other one. You can make opportunity attacks from it. You get bonus action attacks from it. And so there's just so much to love just in that 3rd level feature. Then it just goes even further as we gain exploration features that most Battlemasters are not going to have. We get Echo Avatar, and built into that is a 1,000 foot teleport, which is nuts. Tell me another person that can do anything close to that at level 7. I'll wait. I don't think anyone else is going to be able to come close to that kind of utility at level 7, and you're a combat person. And yet you have something like this that works for exploration, for infiltration, for so many types of situations. This is only going to be a good thing. Shadow Martyr protects you and makes yourself just so much harder to kill. Reclaim Potential, again, making yourself tougher and more difficult to take down. And Legion of One just makes everything that more busted. Is this on the same level as the Battlemaster Fighter? I think the answer is a resounding yes. This is an absolute 10 out of 10 subclass. It's super, super strong. Is it too strong? Maybe, but that's not what this series is about. This is a 10 out of 10 because it is very, very good, and you should definitely try playing one of these at your table. Later this week, we're going to be building one of these, and I hope you guys are looking forward to that. I am very excited to show you what I have come up with for this week's build. And then of course we're going to continue with our fighter series going forward throughout the month of December as we look forward to Christmas. We are going to finish up the fighter part of this series the first week of the new year, which is pretty amazing. I was hoping to line it up to where everything worked out to where I'd be done on the very last week of the year, but we've got Gunslinger in there, and Gunslinger just adds one extra week, and so we'll be done on the first week of the new year, and hopefully we will have 2,000 subscribers by that time as well. I'm very much looking forward to that, and I'm very much looking forward to later this week, and I hope you are as well. Again, make sure you have liked the video and subscribed, and we will see you later on this week for that video. Stay safe out there, stay healthy. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.